antiviral agent. A medication or another agent that kills viruses or inhibits their capability to reproduce, or may be defined are substances used in treatment and prophylaxis of disease caused by viruses. Viruses are obligate intracellular microorganisms. Drugs that target viral process must penetrate host cell. Therefore, drugs that negatively impact on a virus are also likely to negatively impact normal pathways of the host. So, antiviral agent non-selective. Antivirals, how they act. We must know virus life cycle, and this occurs through several steps. Because antiviral agents can potentially target any of these steps. A viral life cycle typically consists of following steps. The first one includes attachment virus to host cell surface, to host cell's receptor surface, followed by viral entry through endocytosis or fusion, or maybe both. Through the host cell membrane. And then release virus genome. This process now uncoating. Uncoating of viral nucleic acid, and then through several processes include transcription, translation, and DNA polymerase. Transcription, synthesis of viral messenger RNA, and then translation includes synthesis of viral proteins. Synthesis of early regulatory proteins, nucleic acid polymerase, and synthesis of new viral RNA or DNA. Also synthesis of late structural proteins. And then Maturation include release a new virus, a new infection viruses, so now these steps can choose antiviral agents or having any step. Antiviral strategies aim to block viral reproduction at any of these stages, such as to prevent viral attachment. A drug can either bind to host cell receptor or co-receptor or to viral spike protein, or maybe block DNA polymerase. Classification antiviral drugs. Can classification antiviral into agents involve inhibition of early stage of viral replication, such as advantine derivatives or advantine group that found inhibits replication of influenza A. This combine advantine, amantadine, rimantadine, tromantadine, different in only a functional group. Mechanism of action found inhibition of transcription at early stage between uncoating and viral specific RNA synthesis. Interferon found. Interferons are host cytokine that exert complex antiviral immunomodulatory action. Also, interferons are a group of signaling proteins made and released by host cells in response to the presence of several viruses. A virus infected cell will release interferons causing nearby cell to heighten their antiviral defenses. Interferons can divided into 3 types depend on site of secretion: alpha interferon secreted by human leukocytes, beta interferon secreted by human fibroblasts, while gamma interferon secreted by lymphoid cells. Mechanism of action: interferons acts on viral infected cell by binding to specific cell surface receptor and transcription, and it inhibits transcription and translation of messenger RNA into viral nucleic acid and protein. Interferons uses herpes zoster, herpetic keratitis, chronic hepatitis, common cold, influenza virus. The nucleoside analog. Which include DNA polymerase inhibitors. Nucleoside analog that acts on DNA polymerase enzyme as inhibitors. This divided into 3 types. Purine depend on base ring, purine analog, pyrimidine analog, and phosphorus derivatives. Purine analog: cyclovir, galcyclovir, pentcyclovir, famciclovir, vidrabine, arabinoside. Pyrimidine analog: idoxuridine, trifluoridine. طبعا نلاحظ ديوكسي عندي موقع ثلاثة. والنوع الثالث phosphorus derivatives such as phosphocarbonate sodium, phosphate group, trisodium. Mechanism of action such as cyclovir. In normal nucleoside, activation by phosphate group through thymidine kinase to give guanine in nucleotide, then enter or through DNA polymerase incorporated into DNA or DNA polymer formation. When replacement a normal nucleoside by a cycloidal pass through thymidine kinase in virus infected cell give false nucleotide as a cycloidal triphosphate. In this step, DNA polymerase blocked by false nucleotide. Assembly of DNA stops. Even cycloidal inhibit thymidine kinase, and then DNA polymerase, thus reduce the DNA synthesis in virus infected cell. نجي الصنف الآخر اللي هو الأنتي ريتروفيروس أو الأنتي ريتروفيرال ايجنت. عندنا A nucleotide or nucleotide بعد ما يصير له activation triphosphate reverse transcriptase inhibitor. والصنف الآخر non-nucleotide reverse transcriptase inhibitors. NRTI, a 3 type or class, thymine analog, cytosine analog, and inosine. The thymine analog, the basic unit here, a thymine compound. Such as الأزيد اللي هي الزيدوفودين والستفودين. لاحظوا إنه الستافودين أيضا ممكن يرمز لها دي 14. لاحظوا هذه أوكسي. Not use the stavudine, not use with acid. Why? Because acid may reduce the phosphorylation of stavudine. This agent used or specific form HIV act as anti-HIV1 and HIV2. ناخذ السيتوسين analog like the cytosine ring اللاميفودين وزالستابين ديوكسي أيضا هيدروكسي. وهنا ايزوستير للكربون عندي صفر أتوم. الإينوسين analog of deoxy عندي موقع 3 analog of deoxy adenosine and diaonosine. طبعا الميكانيزم of action act by competitive inhibition of HIV-1 reverse transcriptase and also incorporated into the growing viral DNA chain cause termination, even DNA polymerase inhibitor. قلنا احنا النيوكلوسايد إذا requires activation through phosphorylation to give triphosphate form. Most have activity against HIV-2 as well as HIV-1. الصنف الآخر اللي هو non-nucleoside or nucleotide reverse transcriptase inhibitor. عندنا nevirapine and ivavirines. This both mechanism of action bind directly to HIV-1 reverse transcriptase, resulting in inhibition of RNA and DNA-dependent polymerase activity. The binding site of non-nucleoside or nucleotide reverse transcriptase inhibitor is near but distinct from that of nucleoside or nucleotide reverse transcriptase inhibitor. Unlike a nucleoside or nucleotide receptor transcriptase inhibitor, why? Don't require phosphorylation to be active. Also, don't compete with nucleoside. Don't competitive inhibitor or act as a competitive inhibitor. The protease inhibitor protease is responsible for cleaving precursor molecules to produce final structural proteins of mature viral core. Example, عندنا اتونادير لوبينادير ساكونادير نيلسندير. This protein synthesis inhibitor. Fusion inhibitors such as infuvirtide, this a drug for HIV infection, and it also synthetic peptide It contains 36 amino acid, linear amino acid, similar to HIV proteins. Mechanism of action: that blocks HIV entry to the cell, bind to subunit of the viral envelope, glycoproteins, and integrase inhibitors, HIV integrase inhibitors, integrase strand transfer inhibitors prevent integration of viral DNA into the host DNA by inhibiting the viral enzyme integrase. Bind integrase and halting the viral replication process. Example: Ratigrapher then inhibits the viral enzyme integrase.